Hello and welcome to this episode of Health Matters on Channels Television. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. Every day we come in contact with harmful substances through what we eat, drink, and pollutants released into the atmosphere. Detoxification, simply called detox, is the physiological or medicinal removal of toxic substances like unwanted chemicals, heavy metals, and some microorganisms from a living organism, including the human body. It is also the act of rendering such toxic substances harmless. Detoxification exercises are carried out by the liver, kidney, large intestine, and the skin. How do we keep these organs working at their best? In the studio with me is Dr. Olufemi Ladende. Dr. Ladende is a nutrition consultant at Rencare Integrated Limited in Lagos. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us in concrete terms, with things that we know, examples of some of these pollutants that we come across, which our bodies have to deal with?
Let's take the big ones first. The water we drink, the air we breathe in, and the food we eat.
Okay.
But the body also produces its own pollutants. I explain it this way. Your body is like a generator, burning fuel, and there are side effects to that burning of fuel, but your body is well able to deal with its own pollutants.
Okay.
The ones that give it a problem are the ones that come from outside. A good example is the plastics that we use so ubiquitously these days. Plastics contain xenoestrogens, which are hormone disruptors that create mayhem in the human body.
Okay, but if the body is not able to deal with these external pollutants, what then becomes of the body?
It becomes diseased.
Can you tell us what are some of the symptoms of a body that is diseased by toxic substances from the atmosphere? Do people come up with particular symptoms?
That is the difficult bit. The symptoms generally may be not one that you would ascribe anything special to. You have a headache, you have a restlessness, you have an ability to move your bowels properly. You have all sorts of symptoms that could be attributable to a number of different things. But the way the body behaves is this. It knows that it cannot operate optimally with these poisons around. So it does everything to empty them. But when does your body empty itself? It's at night when you're sleeping. So if you're going to get rid of toxins, you need to sleep and sleep properly.
Oh, you sleep to get rid of toxins?
You do.
That's interesting. Are we talking about some of these external toxins?
Yes, I mean, virtually all of the external toxins, whether they come from the air or they come from the food you eat or from the water you drink, will pass through your liver. Your liver is your main factory for...
Is it that the liver doesn't work well unless we're asleep?
No, the liver works... Your liver is, for example, by some measurements, carrying out close to 450 different chemical reactions every hour. It's constantly working.
Okay.
But if you overload it, it then slows down and is not able to get rid of the toxins as quickly as you're bringing them in. And that is what creates a problem. But why do I say that you need to sleep to be able to detoxify? Because, you see, your body is doing 10,000 different things every minute of every waking day. Your brain's working, your heart is beating, your intestines are running, you're eating food, you're digesting. There are 1,000 different things that you're doing all on the go. And your liver is the one major hub for distribution. Whether it is changing the food you eat to forms in which it can be stored, or taking the toxins out and making them soluble, which happens at 2 different levels, and then passing it on to the kidneys for it to be sent out in the urine, or sending it out in the bowel so that it can go out in the stool. Your liver is usually a very, very hard-working organ. So it doesn't stop working. But the only time it would have what you call a downtime, when it can look at, okay, we've done today's work, can we try and repair and replace, is when you knock off and you go to sleep.
Okay, so it's a sort of rejuvenation time for it to continue to work optimally.
Yes. I have spoken to a doctor who says, I tell my children I'm not going to bed, I'm going to rejuvenate.
That's a nice one. Now, some of these toxins that are in the body, do they sort of escape? I want to just use that word for a want of a better word. Do they escape the surveillance of these, shall I call them, 4 policing organs? Liver, kidney, skin, colon. Is there something like a toxin escaping them and causing havoc in the body?
Not likely. They do not escape as such, but there are procedures for getting rid of toxins. Most of that actually sit inside of your liver, because there are 2 sets of enzymes that denature toxins and make them less harmful. But the way the liver works is that when it takes a poison, for example, it first of all makes it into an even stronger poison, which we call the phase 1 detoxification. And then it goes ahead with phase 2 and makes it soluble and less poisonous, which can then be gotten rid of either by the kidneys or through sweat in your skin. So if your enzymes for doing phase 1 are working well, and your enzymes for doing phase 2 are in difficulty, then all you're doing is taking poisons and making them even more poisonous. Okay. And it stays in the body.
Okay, now, is it possible, apart from what we're taking externally, is it possible for the body to not be able to handle its own waste, so to speak?
No, it isn't. Except if you have put that body in a position where it is not operating optimally.
And what position would that be?
If you're under stress, for example, whether the stress is at work or at home is irrelevant. Your body has methods that it uses to keep itself functioning optimally. But if those systems are overwhelmed by other things, for example, if you're under continuous stress, your adrenal glands will take a hit. When they take a hit, you get into first an adrenal stress situation, or then you get into an adrenal failure situation, and all sorts of mayhem would happen.
Okay, doesn't it cause a dilemma when somebody comes up with, so to speak, amorphous symptoms? Doesn't this get treated as other things, show up or camouflage as other diseases, and then somehow get ignored?
That is true, and that is what has created difficulty with some disease profiles.
Because I hear you talk about headache, which is...
Like we talk sometimes about what they call chronic fatigue syndrome, which for many, many years, doctors didn't recognize. There have been patients who had this problem who are told to go see psychiatrists.
And they say there's no cure for it.
Of course there is there is a cure for it. There is a way of getting over it if you do the right things. You see, what we try to do is we try to tell the body what to do. What we should do is look at what the body is trying to do and support it with nutrients and with food and with our lifestyle to live the best it can. If, for example, you keep going to bed at 12 midnight, it's only going to take a while for your body to begin to break down.
Okay, let's just take a short break at this time. We are going on a very short break. Please stay with us. The best is yet to come.